Hi lovelies, this is Boston Girl TV, and excuse my voice because I am sick, but this video is the difference between speech issues and speech apraxia, or nonverbal speech apraxia. Hey, no, 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 hey, no, no, hey. So I'm going to start with, I didn't really know what speech apraxia was. What happened was, so speech apraxia is like you say words, but you kind of say them wrong, or the vowels are off, your brain is telling you not to say the word correctly, or whatever. So initially when Ava started going to speech therapy, the speech therapist mentioned that she thought Ava had speech apraxia. And I was like, well, I didn't really know what that was. So I started to do research, and I found the Cherub Foundation. I'll put the link in the description box. And they had an article about speech apraxia and autism. Yes, so they had this article. And so I started giving her fish oil based off of those articles that I read about speech apraxia, right? Trying desperately to get words and getting her to talk. So I did notice gains, vocalizations with the fish oil, so I kept going for the fish oil. Anyways, so time went on. I got a speech therapist on Saturdays, and she has a speech therapist at our school. So when we went to do the speech device, we had to see a speech therapist at Boston Children's. And then we did a follow-up appointment 6 months later. Well, in her report, when we were there, she mentioned that she felt Ava had speech apraxia. So this stuck in my brain, and I'm like, well, how do I get a freaking diagnosis for speech apraxia? And I was like, does this increase speech therapy? Does this increase what the insurance will pay for? Or whatever. Now, to know Ava has literally not said one word. Not that I recognize. So I don't know if she said a word and said it wrong, or she makes sounds and sometimes her sounds sound like words. But for me, I don't know her to actually say a word. I was on a mission, so I started emailing our doctor and asking, like, how do you get this diagnosis, whatever. Well, kind of to find out, you really can't get the speech apraxia diagnosis unless they have 50 words, they were saying, and it 50 words and they're saying them wrong type of thing. So I was like, but it's clear that she has a lot of other signs that lead to her possibly having speech apraxia, because it's a motor issue in your mouth, and she has a lot of other motor issues, just low tone in her body and all types of things like that. So I'm like, well, why has nobody made this connection? You know what I mean? Like, if speech apraxia and nonverbal go together a lot, excuse me, cat move, then why not have a test for this or something? But I guess the thing is, there's no different kind of therapy. Like, they wouldn't do anything different with her having speech apraxia opposed to being nonverbal as she is. So then I guess I asked so many questions to my direct doctor that they had a speech therapist call me, and I said, well, what do you feel with speech apraxia? And then I asked the question I ask everybody I get a chance to, like, have you seen a child talk after 5? And she's like, definitely. I have seen a child talk after 5. I haven't seen them go to full sentences after 5. They start from the basics, but they work their way up. So you know that I just can't help myself to ask every doctor that question, because I want my baby to talk so desperately. So she was saying that a lot of people assume that if you have speech apraxia that you really need to go to speech therapy like 5 days a week, like ramp it up. But she says she kind of disagrees with that Ava pretty much has speech 3 times a week. One I bring her to on Saturdays and 2 at her school. That should be enough. And then I also asked, because the 2 different speech therapists kind of hit things in a different way, and I was like, do we need to be consistent? Like, does the speech therapist on Saturday need to be doing the exact same thing as the speech therapist on the week days or what I'm doing at home. And she was like, no, it's actually pretty good that they're all kind of doing the same thing with the same goal of making her verbal. So this is the thing that happens a lot, that I feel that as a mom I have to push and pressure, that I want her to be verbal. If she ends up not being verbal, that's one thing, but we don't know that right now, you know what I mean? So I want her to be verbal. And I feel like a lot of providers will say, but she can communicate. And I'm like, did you hear me? I want her to be verbal, but she can communicate. You know, and this is the thing. And yes, I do want my child to communicate. Don't get me wrong. I love the fact that I know what TV show she wants, if she wants to eat something, if she wants to drink something. I love that, because before I didn't have any of that knowledge. But the ultimate goal for a nonverbal parent is that your child can talk words. Now, if I have to settle with the fact that she can communicate later on, I'll deal with that later on. So it's saying that I want the speech therapist to work on things that will help drive her to be verbal, and not just say, well, she can communicate, right? So yes, so when we went to Children's Hospital and she wrote up the report, the speech pathologist from Children's Hospital, she gave clear-cut instructions and advice to how to implement, to make her verbal, or work towards verbalization with the speech device. So I want that implemented. And matter of fact, we were supposed to talk. We didn't end up talking. I want that implemented and worked on, to how to work towards her being verbal. Even if you come at it at a different way, I still want to work on that. Yeah, so that's my goal. I need to have a meeting with the speech therapist at her school, which actually we were supposed to talk on Thursday, and we both forgot about it, because I forgot about it and she didn't call me. So I need to send out an email as soon as I get off here. It's just so much going on. Like, comment, subscribe, holla back.